Welcome to Friday, Voice of Truth, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Jim Moore here, sporting my new hat. I got some other ones too, man. That is a cool hat, ain't it? It's got a dog on it with a Indian thing, headdress from Indian. And it's, they kind of specialize in ducks and duck hunting. Bo, up in Montana, you ought to enjoy that, man. I got one cool hat with a big old duck, and I'll bring it here in a couple weeks. I got a small head, you see. I'm like a 7 or 6 and 7/8 kind of head. I mean, some of them guys got like a 12-inch head. I don't have that. My grape, as they used to call it in the Marine Corps. How you like my little Marine Corps statue right there, huh? Is that not cool? I think this is very, very relevant. Should do it this way because that's the way it is. When I was in the Marine Corps, 2nd Battalion D Company in Paris Island, we were right there looking right out. I could see that statue every day. Thought about that a lot. This kind of brings us to our subject here. And I wonder this, and well, I know it to be true, okay? Sometimes it's a hard subject to talk about, but we might as well go ahead. I look around at the decline of the church. Some churches, man, they're really, really, I guess, growing. They think they're growing, but really not. Really not. I mean, there's certain things you can do to entice people to come in or whatever. But guys, I'm going to tell you something. The church has become feminized. Now, and I know we'll jump right up and say, hey, the church is the bride of Christ. Boy, we could spend a lot of time here talking. John, and we've been talking about in his epistle over there, writes, behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we are sons of God, not bride of Christ. The bride of Christ, when you hear these terms, it doesn't mean that all of us are supposed to be women. Okay, that's not what that term means. The bride of Christ, it has this terminology when Paul would be saying this, would be the union, the oneness, okay, and understanding that in a relationship here, in a real marriage between a husband and a wife, a man and a woman. Okay, the man is the stronger one, the provider and the protector, and the woman is the weaker one. Well, in the relationship that we have with Christ, he's the provider and the protector, and we are the weaker vessel. Okay, now in a real marriage, I've performed several of them. I say, now I present you Mr. and Mrs., but the man never becomes the woman, and the woman never becomes the man, yet their names become one. Now they're Mr. and Mrs. whoever, okay? They don't lose their identity. When I say the church has become feminized, look, our school systems, our country has become feminized. And I say that, I mean, there's a whole lot, and you guys can chime in here, but, the songs that people sing, the way the churches are decorated, I got to looking around and I thought, oh my God, I felt into the same trap too. Just feminine. You need the balance here. It's no wonder that men don't want to come to church. Men would rather go golfing. Why not? Men would rather go fishing. Why not? Men would rather be building something, working on a car. And we think, oh, well, they're just not. No, they don't want to come and get whippy handshakes and have the church all girly. I mean, the idea, stay with me here, the ideal of singing a sappy love song that Jesus is my boyfriend doesn't do it for me. That just doesn't do it. Now, maybe to some teenager girl, maybe they think this way, and Jesus is more of a boyfriend to them. I don't have that kind of relationship, guys. And I know we use the terms relationship, and I've used these terms that I'm blue in the face. Sometimes I think we need to change this terminology here because it's become sappy, it's become wimpy, and you know, I hate it. I just look around at a lot of churches and I'm thinking, and even America, remember, I hold this up here. I was a Marine. Well, still am a Marine. We're just you know, Marines. We're no ex-Marines, okay? Former Marine, I was in there, but now, you know, we're still ready. But, you know, we don't even know what it's like. Our society doesn't have very few real men. You know, you got 10,000 instructors, but so few fathers, men. Young boys need men in their life. They need a man to challenge them, to push them. You know what was amazing? We used to coach football, and man, we couldn't even challenge. Oh, they're tired. Oh, they're thirsty. Oh, well, they need to take a break. Oh, it's raining out, so they can't play football in the rain. I'm like, this is football. And so we come to church and we sing sappy songs, and we got sappy decorations, and we catered everything to the woman, and the men just don't want to go anymore. And I understand it, man. And I'm sorry. Okay, we got to get back here and our society. And you know, I think about this. Okay, because you know what, our country is in great trouble. Our education system. We talked about this last week. Our education system is a mess. Our education system just created slaves for the industrialized America, that's all. Not entrepreneurs, not men. And when men used to be out working in the fields and farming and doing those things, providing for the family, now it becomes city life, and they lost the calluses on their hands, and they lost that strength. And now we live in TV land, and we just dream about what it's like to go deer hunting or be on an adventure. I'm telling you, these scriptures here is an adventure. It's what we've been called to, this adventure. I want to use that word more than I want to use relationship word. Listen, that's a word that women can relate to. Relationships, they're always looking for a relationship, but men are looking for adventure. Yeah. Listen to this verse here. Now I'm reading out the NAS, but I know what the King James says. Brothers and sisters, do not be children in your thinking. Yet in evil be infants, but in your thinking be mature. In your King James, be men. You know, I find this amazing. You know, we talked about the first words Jesus says, you know, follow me. Follow me. And Paul says the same thing. And that word is imitate. Imitate me. Imitate me. And I just think that's amazing. You know, I wear a hat, and, you know, my boys wear a hat. Even my daughter wears a hat. Okay? Imitate me. And what kind of picture are we holding up for our young men? And I'm telling you what, young men, especially white males, you guys are, man, you got it tough, because you know what? You're not going to get any of the good jobs anymore, not unless you become an entrepreneur. And what I mean is, even the corporation I work for has went DEI. I didn't even know what that stuff meant. That's who they're hiring. They're not hiring, you know, the holler boys. They're not hiring the workers. DEI. You know, DEI. You got to have this diversity. You know, this inclusion. We got to have all that stuff. And you know, man, it's tough to be a young man in today's society, because you know, this old saying used to be, hey, go to college and get your education and do all that stuff. Man, guess what? You can go to college, you can be in debt $80,000, and you get out of college and you're not going to get the job because it's going to somebody else. That's just the truth of the matter. The girls don't want to have nothing to do with you, but I will tell you something that's built in. They still want a real man. And the thing is, they don't know what a real man looks like, acts like, whatever. And we're not giving our young men role models to be, to look up to. Now look, I had it in my mind, and I guess in the baby boomers generation, it was John Wayne. And I used to think it's John Wayne. But really, if you want to know what a real man looks like, look at Jesus. And if you have this sappy idea that he walked around like a big old wimp, you are sadly mistaken, because I read where this guy took a whip and run everybody out of the temple. And there's a lot of folks there. Can you imagine the look on his face? The sternness, the urgency, slinging a whip around, running him out. And so much so, nobody run and tackled him and said, hey, we got some guy like they do in a football game. Some guy jumps on the football field and takes off running, and, you know, everybody tackles him and then kind of laughs and holds their phone up. Nobody was messing with this guy. You know, I go back in the history and I look, do you think Moses was a girly man? He goes right into Pharaoh. Let my people go. Now, the scriptures tell us he was meek, so there is a meekness here, but meekness, again, is this power under control. It's understanding here, yes, I have this power. I mean, Jesus says I have the power to lay it down. I have the power to raise it up. Okay, it's this power. Men, guys, we got to get our young men back in society. And you know what's happened? We've given our government up to feminism. And I know you think, oh, well, he's just some male chauvinist pig. No, there is a certain order. Guys, I still open the door for Tracy. I open her car door, get her in, close the car door. I don't have to do that. She's tough. She could do it herself. I do it because I'm a man and she is a lady. I might find proper one too. She's a lady. And I want to treat her how I feel like a lady ought to be treated. You know, the handshake is important. I know you think, what's this? Because this is man stuff. I tell my kids, and listen, here's how I do it. You do it ever how you want. But when I walk into somebody else's home, because I am and God puts so much emphasis on the home, the table. There's just so much that goes on in the home, guys. And I'm going to tell you something. When you go into somebody else's home, I tell my kids this, find out, see who's the man of the home. First thing you do is you go into the man of the home because he's supposed to be the man of the home, and you show honor and respect to that man. Okay, I walk in, I see, the dad, I see whoever it is, he's the man of the home, man. I go shake his hand, I give him a man handshake. Also, like his wife, now you want to, even if you're there to pick a girl up, or I'm just telling for young men, even if you're there to pick the daughter up, man, you show respect to the man of the house. And second, before you even acknowledge the girl, you show honor and respect to the mom. Okay, that's first and foremost. And listen, guys, even though I go to some homes, I'm more so, every time I go, I'm dealing out this respect. Okay, dealing out this respect. I mean, Paul tells us, be men. Be men. Our churches have become feminized. Our schools are feminized. Our society has become feminized. And this has been a process that's going on and on and on and on and on. And I promise you guys, the young men, once they begin to wake up, they will rebel. They will rebel. And we have got to get back. I mean, all of our TV shows take the men out of the home. They make the men wimpies, all of those things, guys. We have got to get the men. That's why the men don't want to come to church. That's why we call the women the prayer warriors. It used to be the men. Listen, I heard him say this. Well, somebody told me this a long time ago. Hey, if you want to grow your church, you got to have a strong youth. youth ministry. You get to, and what are they really saying? The church is feminized because who's bringing the kids? Mom in the minivan. She's bringing the kids. Now, if the dad goes, he's just tag along. So really what we're doing is catering again, as always, to the women, because the women are in charge of taking care of the kids and getting them to school and to soccer practice and all this stuff. When the scripture tells us to the men, teach your children. Teach them. You're in charge of this. It's up to you now. Am I saying the moms don't have a role? Absolutely, the mothers have a role. But if there's some teaching going on, it's got to be by the fathers. And the men are to be the protectors and the providers in this family. There is an order here. And when things get out of order, you have chaos. I love, as Jordan Peterson says, he talks about Peter Pan. You want to know where that comes from? Pan was sort of the god of everything. And what does Peter Pan do? He never grows up. He never grows up. And the only guy in his life is Captain Hook, who was afraid of a crocodile. And the crocodile always represents chaos and time. And once the crocodile got in him, he could hear the clock ticking. So his only male role model in the whole thing is Captain Hook, the guy who's scared of time. And so you see the story here, Peter Pan. And guys, we have a society of Peter Pans. A society of wokeness, of all of, and guys, when you have this, all you have is chaos. And here we are looking in our society, attempted assassinations. We got chaos on every hands. And guys, I can tell you what, it's probably only going to get worse. That's not a biblical, that's just how out of order things are in our society. They're way out of order. And if you think going to the polls, should you go vote? Absolutely, you ought to go vote. I mean, our election is coming up. But if you think that's going to solve it, it's not. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of this overnight. But guys, us men here, need to really show others how to be a man. We got to get the manhood back. Men, I'm calling on you. Take your manhood back. Take your manhood back. We need men in church. Here's a stat. Once you get a church who gets 70% women, 30%, that church is dying a death. And it becomes more liberal. If you get more men than women, your church becomes legalistic. You need the wings here. The wings of that bird to fly straight. You need both. And what do we have? We have a lopsided, guys. We have a lopsided. Because the men ain't interested, because the church is not challenging the man. Men need to be challenged. Men, I try to challenge men all the time. I guess y'all are listening to this. You come here, I'm trying to challenge you all the time because men need to be challenged. Always growing up, what do boys do? I can throw farther than you. I can run faster than you. Women sit over there and they think, why are y'all so silly? Listen, I'm not a woman. I'm not a girl. I never was, never will be. But this is the way boys are. Ask my cousins when growing up, what did we do? We fought, we wrestled, we punched each other in the arms, throwed rocks, run, jump, climb trees. We did all that stuff. And guess what? We send our kids to school now, and them boys are full of that. He is, we need to put him on Ritalin. We need to put him on this. We need to put him on this because really what we want is a good factory worker. And then guess what? After you come out of college, $80,000 in debt, you're not going to get that job anyway because we're going to give it to DEI. We're going to give it to somebody else. And guys, that's going to catch up to us. I think it's caught up to us right now. A feminized church, that's where we are. The church has become wimpy. And I was noticing this the other day. Maybe I'm slow in noticing. I was looking around, some other preachers, and I thought, there's something about that. You you know what I mean here. That you just look and you think, man, that guy's soft. What's he doing here? And then, here it is in the church. Oh, well, since the woman is leading the way and she's the one coming and she's the one who's going to say, hey, I don't like that church. Preacher said this, we're going to another church. And then the guy just kind of whimpers around and follows him around. No. As I say, brethren, these things ought not be. These things ought not be. The church has become feminized. We'll talk more on this later. We got to understand here. And look, again, this is not John Wayne Christianity. No. This is meekness. This is power. This is humility, but strength. Okay? Because the guy ought to be the one sacrificing for the family. He ought to be the one standing in the doorway. As Jesus said, the shepherd would sleep in the doorway to keep the wolves away. I love David. He wrestled a bear. He wrestled a lion. Do we have any of that anymore in our society here? So I'm maybe changing some of the words around here, and I may go away a little bit from relationship. It is relationship. I don't get this wrong here, but for us men, it's adventure. Let's go on this adventure here. Men love adventures. That's right. God created us that way. We love adventure. We want to go wrestle a lion. Maybe you don't want to wrestle a lion or a bear. But daggone it, who's going to stand in the breach? Who's going to stand in the breach when somebody's trying to break into your home? Who's going to take up for their daughters? Who's going to say, buddy, if you want to date my daughter, here's what you need to do, because my daughter is going to marry a real man, and I don't want no stinking wimp around, right? That's what we got to do here, guys. And we got to be demanding. I'm going to tell you what, it's all about love, but I'm telling you, love is demanding. Love is demanding. I mean, there's a be ye, this. Love is out there, and it's going and it's flowing. It's not passive in the sense it's just sitting there doing nothing, like a mushroom or something. It's in your face. Injustice and love comes into injustice and says, no, we're not doing this anymore. This is not right. We're stopping it. This is not how you're supposed to be. And it's like, we can't say that we might offend somebody. I remember when they used to go and these people, well, you offended me. Well, get over it. It's all I know. If you're egocentric, you're always offended. If you're living in the ego, you're always offended. It doesn't matter what people say or what they do or any of that stuff. And let me tell you something. Here's one other thing, and I'm gonna quit here, guys. When you look in the mirror, know this. It's nobody's fault but yours. You can blame everybody in the world. You can scapegoat everybody. Here's one thing the cross does. When you look in that mirror, just know this. It's your fault. You got yourself into this mess, and prayer, God's help will get out. Don't blame nobody else. Don't put this on nobody else. Don't be blaming Adam. Don't be blaming nobody else. Ex-wife, ex-husband, kids, boss at work. It's your fault. There you go. Man up. Man up. All right, guys, I'm out of time. Tune in next week, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Voice of Truth, man. We're going to hit some hard stuff. So we'll see you next week, guys. God bless. Hey guys, Jim here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really love bringing these things to you. I just wanted to say, if you really liked it, drop a like. Man, that really helps us out a lot. Hit the share button, subscribe if you want to get notified when they're coming out. We come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as of right now. We got more teachings on Rhythms of Grace, communityfellowship.com. You can find us right there. On there, you'll find all the links to our podcast on Voice of Truth and Rhythms of Grace, Community Fellowship. And it'll also take you to our YouTube for these channels, rhythmsofgracecommunityfellowship.com. You can find everything right there. Again, thank you. Leave us a comment, hit subscribe. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. God bless.